that we need to continue to stand strong to defend everybody's rights and freedoms.
Hey guys, how you doing today? Hey, let's talk about the internet. Okay? This is going to be probably a little bit long of a video, but we'll see. I noticed on Friday, C-11 passed the Senate. Okay? They passed it with some amendments that they want to drop 4B, and a bunch of other amendments to it. At the same time, the Liberals also dropped the hunting rifles stuff on C-21. Now, I have no evidence of this or anything to this effect, but it seems to me that almost seemed like a deal. You know, they turned around to the Conservatives and said, hey, look, give us our C-11 and we'll give you C-21. And we both walk away winners. And the reason I say that, it seems like that, is because, well, Polyev jumped all over C-21, but he hasn't said a word about C-11. But anyway, I want to talk about the internet. This isn't about C-21 or any types of deals that they're working out. This is about C-11. And the internet in general. Okay, let's talk about the internet. What is the internet really? In today's day and age, what is the internet? Well, today's day and age, the internet is a lot of things. You know, a lot of people, I hate left and right wing, a lot of people that are very opposed to what I say and do and such, they're all about, you know, globalist ideals and global this, and we need to think globally and such. And well, that's what the internet does, is it gives us the ability to speak globally, you know, on global matters and such like this. See opinions from around the globe so that we can formulate our own opinions based on the information we have available to us. C-11 will prevent this. Well, not prevent it. Let me rephrase that. It won't prevent it. What it will do, though, is it will hinder people from the ability to actually look at information from multiple different sources around the world. Because you'll be force-fed Canadian content. And Google and Facebook and all the rest of them, they all said this they're all like, yeah, well, if we're going to have to force Canadian content, well, then you're going to have to deal with the restriction that we're going to put on you as well. That means you won't be seen by other people, and your Canadian content will not be exposed outside of Canada, except in the rare conditions. Okay, so basically we're going to isolate ourselves. Much like communist China's censorship, or not censorship, they're what's that word I'm looking for? Oh my God, it's on the tip of my brain. Their social credit score system. You know, you're only allowed to say what's approved by the government in China in order to be able to say your opinion. If you say something against the government of China, they just block you. You're not allowed to say it. It's going to be the exact same thing here in Canada. Now, let's try a different tact on this. Okay, what is the internet? Well, the internet is a research tool as well. You see, back in the day, we used to have this thing called the Encyclopedia Britannica. And they used to have to come out with new volumes every year because the information in the volumes would be updated and out of date every year. So the internet has solved that problem. The information on the internet is updated daily with the newest and greatest information. But it's also, widened the spectrum, because now we can get the information anywhere around the world. When Canada imposes C-11, which I do believe they're going to be able to do, as far as I know, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong on this one, even if the Senate offers amendments to a bill but has approved it, I don't think the government actually has to impose those amendments. They just have to get royal assent at that point, which is a rubber stamp. I could be wrong on that one, but someone correct me if I am. Anyway, so when C-11 comes into effect, and it will, that means that our encyclopedia now is restricted to Canadian content. Now, I want to bring up something else, a little different, okay? Now, actually, no, I'm going to segue into it through another way. You see, this is a problem. You see, if I want to follow my government and the things that they're doing and such, I have to rely on Canadian media and Canadian news after C-11 passes to be able to know what my government is doing. Well, just about a couple weeks back, one of my members of government, one of the most important members of my government, attended a conference all the way on the other side of the world. Not one news media spoke about her visit to the WEF. Not one. I watched every single news media waiting for them to talk about what she was doing there, and not one spoke about it. So, if that's how I'm supposed to get my information, once C-11 passes, I won't be getting the feeds from around the world. I'll only be getting the Canadian feeds. How am I supposed to know this? How am I supposed to know what my government is doing? She didn't broadcast it. So, what am I supposed to sit in the dark? This is what communist China does to their citizens. Now, speaking of the WEF, they made a very, very, very bold warning to the world. They told the world that within 2 years, they're expecting a major cyber crimes to happen all around the world. The internet to be disrupted and everything like this. Okay? This was a big warning to the world. Now, let me remind you of something. You see, Alphabet, who's the owner of Google and YouTube and Facebook and, oh God, I can't remember who else, but all the big tech, or Amazon, all the big tech companies all have signed an agreement with the WEF. It's some sort of charter thing. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with an A, but it's a charter basically with the WEF. And they, as soon as the meetings in Davos ended this year, what happened in the news? Google fired a whole ton of people. Amazon fired a whole ton of people. Facebook fired a whole ton of people. And they played it off as, oh, well, you know, business is slowing and this and that. Well, I'm sorry. If you get a warning that there's about to be major disruptions to the internet, well, why would you fire people? And won't that create more people that want to create those disruptions by pissing them off, by making them lose their jobs? I'm sorry, this just sounds like it's so foolish. It just sounds like a recipe for disaster. You're going to have less people to respond to it, and less people, more people that are angry at the industry. Like, you're setting yourself up to fail. But let's move on from that, okay? Let's talk about the internet as a whole, okay? You see, this is the great thing about, looking around the world and discovering things. See, back in the old days, you used to rely on your local community to get your information, and they would speak with, people would come in to visit your town or your local area, and they used to get swarmed all the time. Like, oh, come on, tell me about this, tell me about that, tell me what's going on here, tell me what's going on there. And that's how information used to pass. Well, it's the same concept with the internet today. But we're doing it more like expediently. Tell me about this, tell me about that, tell me about what's happening in your side of the world. Well, with C-11 passing, this is no longer a thing. And one of the people that you guys complain about a lot, okay, are flat earthers. Okay? So let's use flat earth as an example here. You see, back in the day, single-mindedness and refusing to accept any other possibilities, any other deviations from the understanding of the community made people ostracize for saying, well, I think the earth is round. And I think I want to go and sail and prove it. And people would get ostracized for it. Who was that great inventor way back when who discovered the earth circles around the moon and not the other way around? Well, it was public opinion that said that this was wrong. How dare he come up with something like that? And yet we know now that one man who was ostracized and criticized for his beliefs and his understanding was right. It wasn't the group that decided that this was right, that we're right. It was that one man, that one person, whatever. God, I hate that we have to talk like this. Anyway, it was that one person who decided, no, this is not right. I think we circle around the sun. It was one man who decided he was going to listen to the Vikings instead of the scholars and set sail east and discovered the beautiful nation we now call Canada. And you tell me that I'm supposed to listen to the popular opinion or the group think. This is the only allowed think we are allowed. We are about to allow in Canada is group think. How the hell do we progress our society if all we listen to is group think? It's that one voice in the distance whispering, hey, it's different over here. What about this idea? What about this idea? Yet you're so fixated on silencing people that you can't take your mind away from the idea that the group knows best, to realize you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for that one man. So stop trying to censor what I have to say and mind your own damn business. Maybe you'll listen to stuff that you don't agree with, and maybe you'll learn something. This is why we have free speech. This is why we're not in China. Why are you trying to make us like it? Because Trudeau envies them? Yeah. And if you need one more piece of proof that I know what I'm talking about, let's put it this way. If it wasn't for the US media, Canada would not know that a spy balloon from China was over our sovereign airspace. It was the US media that spurred the Canadian media to speak about this because our government chose to misinform Canadians by not telling them that our sovereignty was jeopardized. And not just by a day. We're talking days that they hid this information from us. Marco Medicino just said it in committee just the other day. Just yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Could be wrong. Could be the day before. I'm babbling now. He would not tell Canadians that our sovereignty had been invaded and we had to learn it from another nation. Yeah, C-11 is in the best interest of Canada. The sun is setting on innovation and freedom in Canada. Welcome to the Fringe.